Yo, 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 welcome to Outta Pocket with RG3. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We need you guys to continue to grow up and blow up on this platform. And today we got a very serious man-to-man conversation because Stephen A. Smith had a lot of personal things to say about me. So I called him up and here's the conversation. Let's go. All right. Well, we're here, Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and set the record straight. Do you have a problem with me?
I don't have a problem with you. I have a problem with some of the reports that I've seen and how I thought you come across. I think you come across a bit passive aggressive at times where you got a problem and I just wish you state what it is and who it's with. On too many occasions, people have come to me since you departed from ESPN acting as if I'm the problem. And I'm saying they're like, I had a great relationship with RG3. I appreciate what he did for the network. I didn't want to lose him. I wish he was still on First Take. You know, I was pleased with the job that he did. We always had a good time. Your pops knows me a little bit. Your pops communicate with me, you know.
Right.
I ain't never had no issue with you. So why the hell am I always in the news every time you got something to say about ESPN? And I just felt like if it wasn't me, it was something that you needed to make clear. Yeah. As opposed to it being out there. And so I felt the need to respond and to let everybody know, yo, and you too, like, yo, I'm not the one that had a problem with you. I'm not that dude. You know me well enough to know if I got a problem with you, everybody, you gonna know. Yep. You know, ain't nobody gonna be wondering. You gonna know if it's coming from me. And I just felt like it was just something that I needed to say. So to answer your question directly, a problem with you in terms of our dealings with one another, absolutely not. We've always been cool. I have a problem with the narrative that's been allowed to be out there and my name always coming up when there's a problem with you. And I thought that was something that you should have cleared up. Okay. All right. Well, I don't have a problem with you. I don't. But a lot of the things that you said on your show during your 10-minute rant on me definitely came off personal and made it seem like you did have a problem with me. So I'd like to set the stage before we get into everything else. Sure. So the people at home watching can understand, like, how did we get here? How did we get here? Okay. Sure. So obviously me and you, I picked up the phone after I saw what you said. We talked. We both, you know, hey, this is a conversation that needs to be had in front of the camera because of what you said in front of the camera. And by the way, you've offered, just for the record, for your audience, you offered to fly in to see me. Yes. And to come on my show. Correct. And I said that I'm out of town, so I don't have a studio where I could have guests, but I didn't feel it would be right to allow it to linger and wait, which is why I said, yo, it's only right if I spoke about you and you invited me on your platform. I've often said to many, many athletes and beyond, I'm just a phone call away. Call a brother. I ain't nobody running. And you sure enough did call me and you asked me to come on the show. And I said, here I am. Yeah, you did. And like we said, we don't talk and run. So to set the table, this all started when I tweeted out sports shows on TV should be about sports, not politics. Right. It went galactical, right? Right. About an hour after First Take, I think so. But yes. So some people thought I was talking about Mina Kimes, right? She went on around the horn, talked about Jackie Robinson's influence on culture, on American life, and really about how he faced so much racial discrimination and racism in his time when he broke the color barrier in baseball. So I just want to go ahead and clear that up. Okay. Once and for all. You're wrong if you think that's who I was talking about. Mina Kimes, my tweet was not about you. It wasn't about what you said around the horn. I didn't believe that to be political. Okay, you were honoring Jackie Robinson and his significance and how what he did impacted this country. I'm all for that. My follow-up tweet, I felt like showcased that, you know, but, you know, some people heard something differently than what I said because of the conversation around DEI and Jackie Robinson that was happening in the political spheres of the far right and the far left. And I understand that, and that's completely on me, right? That's on me. The timing of my tweet and the misinterpretation of that, I can understand how some people could take that and run with it. All right. So if you throw that follow-up tweet up on the screen, they said, this tweet is not about Jackie Robinson. His significance can never and should never be erased.
Breaking the color barrier in baseball in itself is not political. Jesse Owens winning 4 gold medals in itself was not political. Jack Johnson becoming the first black boxing heavyweight champ in itself was not political. They all had political ramifications. They all challenged the status quo of racial barriers to fair play, race relations, and civil rights. That should always be acknowledged and never forgotten. They shouldn't be used as an excuse to push political agendas on sports shows on national television that the audience was not there when they're there to consume sports content. Right. And Stephen A., a lot of people had a problem with what I said there. What was your issue with that tweet about Jackie Robinson?
I had no issue with that tweet. First of all, I've always told you throughout the years you're entitled to your opinion.
Correct.
The only issue that I took, again, it was shortly after we were on First Take and people were coming at me like, this is what he said because my stuff had gone viral with what I had said about Jackie Robinson and the Defense Department. Correct. And so it wasn't just a comment about Jackie Robinson. It was a comment about the Defense Department. It was a comment about the Trump administration. It was a comment about Vice President J.D. Vance. And I'm talking about me. I'm talking about my response. I was saying all of these things because of the actions of Pete Hegseth as well. The explanation in regards to DEI, how the Defense Department saying we're eradicating DEI, and I called out Pete Hegseth from the standpoint that I wish him nothing but the best. He's a former military serviceman. He deserves our respect, but in the same breath, you go from a weekend host on Fox News to overseeing the Defense Department and 3.5 million damn people, including 2 million civilians. That's a little bit extreme. And if anything qualifies as a DEI hire, that would be that. And so I'm only articulating that point to highlight it was clear that I had meshed politics with sports. So when you said what you said, it wasn't far-fetched for people to assume that you were talking about me because it wasn't even the show. The show, literally, there was nobody else on the segment but Molly introducing the topic and coming to me because nobody else at ESPN was on that topic at that time. And so the assertion and the assumption I thought was more than apropos because I had just gotten off the air and I was the only person at that moment that had spoken about it, and I was the only person that had ventured to the politics, to the political terrain of it all, and that's where the assumption came. To be fair to you, it was an assumption on my part, but it was an educated one based on what had transpired and the timing of your tweet.
Understood. And so before we get to, we're going to always be direct, right? You had said something on the show about, let me teach you a lesson in being direct. So we're going to get direct. Sure. I want to ask you in particular, just to clear up the Jackie Robinson of it all.
Sure.
Do you think that I was saying that what Jackie Robinson, Jesse Owens, and Jack Johnson did didn't have political implications?
I thought that you were saying that it shouldn't have. Okay, I'm trying to remember exactly what I said, but I thought what you were saying is that it shouldn't have. But my point is that anything that I expressed about a difference in your opinion, I had no problem with, because you have some people that'll look at it and it being just race relations and separate from politics. I was looking at it as, well, race is a part of politics because we see politicians and politics manipulating race to get the things that they want. And that's how it intertwines. But my point is that I don't think that there's anything wrong with that opinion. And I certainly wasn't criticizing you for that opinion. I was just saying you prefaced it by talking about what shows should and shouldn't be doing with your original tweet. And I was making the point, well, this is what we've been doing. You've been on the air with us where we've tackled certain positions, certain dicey positions. And you and I have been, I'm not going to reveal that, but you and I have been on the phone in the past talking about dicey issues that we had to tackle. And you would talk to me about how to navigate through that for the purposes of being your true, authentic self, but in the same breath, understanding what you had to deliver for First Take. And I would always encourage people to be themselves, be as authentic as you possibly can be, but everybody's truth ain't meant to be told. So if you're not comfortable doing that, RG, you know I said that, and that's why you're laughing, because you know I've done that in the past. If you're not comfortable being that, that's fine. But one of the things that you look at me and that shake your head admirably at times is that I didn't feel like anything was something that I couldn't touch on television in front of the camera. I'm like, this is my job, this is what I got to do, that's how I'm going to do it. So everybody's allowed to be themselves, but that's all.
Yeah, so I just want to clear that up for anyone that heard it differently, right? I'm not gonna, I don't gaslight anybody. If I say something, I mean what I say, okay?
Right.
I never said the Jackie Robinson story wasn't political, or him breaking the color barrier with all of its historical context didn't have political implications. Stephen A., what I was saying was an argument in itself, not about the right or the left. All I'm saying is that hitting a baseball is not political. Running really fast and jumping really far is not political. Now, where you do it, and when you do it, and what the laws and the racial discrimination and the segregation and that you had to face around when you did it, yes, that can make it political and have political implications. Yeah, I was simply arguing that the act itself is not political.
Then my response to you is that you should have said it instead of wrote it, because how you wrote it didn't come across as clear as you just said it.
I thought I did.
All right, I'm just saying to you right now.
You're entitled to your
no. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying real quick. If you played back what you just said,
right,
and you put it next to what you wrote, all I'm saying to you is that you were far more clear in what you said.
Correct.
Now, again, what you said to me, I found nothing offensive about what you was talking about. All I was saying to you with my statement was that First Take has intertwined politics and sports in the past. That's not new. I'm not saying that you never do it or we never should do it or whatever, or we should do it. I'm just saying historically on this show, which is First Take on ESPN every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern time, we've always done it. And I was saying to you, you've been a part of it.
Yep.
We've done that in the past. That's all I was saying.
Yeah,
I wasn't judging it one way or another. I was just saying it happens. Let's not act like it doesn't.
Understood. It does. And sports and politics always intertwines.
Right. All right. But especially on First Take is all I'm saying. We do it. We do it a lot. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Would you agree that there's a difference between acknowledging those political implications and making everything or turning something into a political debate?
Totally different. And we shouldn't turn everything into a political debate. We just shouldn't run from it when it presents itself.
Understood. And the two tweets that I read earlier were the two main tweets, explaining my point. But I had like 5 to 6 other conversations going around with people who took what I said and tried to apply it to a narrative on the right or on the left, where I clearly explained to them what I was talking about. And I can't control how people are going to take a message or how they're going to receive that message. So I own the fact that my timing of that message in itself was the wrong time to have that argument. Right?
I'm just saying that I wasn't those people. I only had an issue with what you were saying because it implied, in the way I interpreted it, since it was immediately following First Take, you were talking to us about what the show should and shouldn't be about.
Understood.
That's how I interpreted it, and that was why I responded. That was the only reason, not to agree or disagree with your point about sports and politics, but in terms of what a sports show should be or what we're expecting to see and stuff like that. I'm like, wait a minute now, you've been a part of this. We've been number one for 13 years. You had something to do with that. When you come on the show, you wasn't a minus, you wasn't a subtraction, you were an additive to that. You helped our show be better, as does all my contributors. Don't depart and be gone and all of a sudden forget the role that you played in the very fabric of what the show was about. That's what I was saying.
No, I understand that part of it. So I wanted to be as direct and as clear as I possibly can.
Yep.
All right. You brought up something about my time at ESPN, and you've spoken about this about other people who have left and said negative things about the network. Okay. So we're going to throw all the tweets on the screen of everything I have said about ESPN since I left.
Okay.
I've said I'm thankful for my time at ESPN. I've thanked fans for acknowledging that they're going to miss me being on the network for college football. I've talked about, I haven't said a negative thing. All these tweets show you that I haven't said a negative thing about ESPN.
Okay.
And you also said to be direct about you.
Yes.
So throw these tweets on the screen. I pulled every single tweet that I have said anything about Stephen A. Smith since I left. If I've had something to say about you, brother, I've directed it towards you. If I had something to say about you when I was at ESPN, I directed it towards you. Okay. So I personally have not said anything myself or through sources to be negative towards ESPN. So when you bring that up, where are you getting that from?
Well, first of all, there's been a couple of stories that have been out about how hurt you were and how upset you were that ESPN had let you go. It wasn't from you directly, but what I would remind you of is that once upon a time, you were a star quarterback in the nation's capital.
Right.
You're the number 2 overall pick, Heisman Trophy winner. And one of the things that you lamented historically was how many people talked behind your back off the record.
Correct.
Remember, this is me you talking to now. You know I know this about you because you've told me that,
100,
right? So what happens is that when you're in this business, just because something isn't publicly attached to you or attributed to you directly doesn't necessarily mean that something's not coming from you. What I'm saying to you is that for me, I never responded to anything that you said in the past. The reason I felt comfortable to respond to this was because it was immediately following what transpired on First Take. And I didn't see anybody else doing that at that moment other than us, which was intertwining sports and politics. Prior to that, all the other things that I had heard, okay, albeit not from you directly, but from leaked sources, purportedly coming from your camp and stuff like that, was you were upset. You weren't happy about it. You were pretty hurt that ESPN let you go. You were still trying to recover from it. In the same breath, Jason McCourty comes on the show and, you know, evidently that's who they wanted instead of you and all of this other stuff. I never responded to any of those things because I didn't hear that from you. What I felt compelled in addressing you directly the other day was to remind you of who I am. Yo, bro, if I have a problem with you, I tell you.
Yeah.
I supported you. If I don't feel that you benefit First Take, you know I'd have been the first person to come to you and say, yo, bro, you ain't working. We know me, okay? And that was not the case. So I'm saying when you look in terms of the things that have been reported, whether it was from you, your camp, or anybody else, because everybody got their sources and everybody leak who they want to leak to and all of this other stuff, I get all of that. My point to you, and my point is saying what I was saying was like, bro, you work at a place, people have whatever feelings they have about you, that's nothing new to you. Bosses make decisions that's above our head, that's nothing new. But I'm not that guy. If I didn't want you, I'd have told you.
Yes,
okay? And so when you look at it from that, I get where you're coming from a literal perspective. Did I hear that from you? No, I did not. Have you ever said anything like that publicly or privately to my knowledge? No, you did not. But the stuff that was leaking, according to numerous sources from RG's camp, people who were speaking for you, were saying these things. And I never commented because I never took anything personal because I said it can't be me because he knows I supported him and he knows if I didn't, I'd tell him.
Yep.
But when that came out the other day, that hit me the wrong way. So I responded.
So for me, you got my phone number. I picked up the phone as soon as I saw what you said. Hey man, what's up? We got what's going on? You said I was being, or there was something about me being passive aggressive. Now, would you say that? I believe that someone calling someone, not all the time, but at least in my case, someone calling someone passive aggressive is just an excuse for them to say you didn't react the way that we thought you were going to react. Would you say that it's like most people who get laid off are probably upset?
Hell, you talking to somebody that got fired?
Yes.
I mean, it's me in 2009.
So were you upset in 2009 when you got laid off?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's an easy connection to make. But you said something that, hey, one of the things that I lamented when I was playing was that there were people talking about me behind my back. Some of the things may have been true. Some of the things may not have been true. Some of the things might have been just connecting dots and putting out stories. You know how this game works.
Correct.
You know how this game works. Hey,
absolutely.
This could be plausible. So maybe if I put it out, they'll think it's true. Reporters have been caught putting out fake stories before. So I'm saying to you, to you as a man, no one from my camp put any of that out. I didn't put that out. Everything you've seen from me publicly, and when I tweet, I can't say this enough. Stephen A., when I tweet, everything I tweet isn't about you. Everything that I tweet isn't about ESPN. It's just my opinion on a certain topic.
But RG, remember, you have an argument to make. If I had numerous comments about RG3 and then you just had enough and you had me on your podcast. Right. The fact of the matter is you haven't heard me say a word about you until this past Friday.
Correct.
So what I'm saying to you, that is the only time. And what did that piggyback off of? That piggybacked off of a tweet with you speaking about something that directly was connected to a show that I do 1 hour earlier than your tweet about exactly what I was talking about. Right. So I'm saying to you is that it's not far-fetched. Of course, if it was something deeper than that, I'd have picked up the phone and called you. What the hell is this? What's going on? What I'm trying to say is that you had spoken about it, you had tweeted about it an hour after my show about exactly what we were talking about on my show. Right. So I was saying, wait a minute, I'm responding to that. And I was reminding you in the process of my diatribe, yo, bro, I'm not the enemy. Now, we know if I want to be somebody's enemy,
you can be the
I'm not hard to find. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Right.
But I don't pretend to be cool with people I'm not cool with.
Right.
And I've always had a good relationship with you. But even when you were at ESPN, we've had conversations. I said, look, man, everybody ain't vibing with you. Everybody don't feel the same way. I do, but everybody don't roll like that. And you got to be mindful of that when you're in this business, because no matter where you go, you're going to have people that feel one way or another. Some of it might be genuine and authentic. Some of it, they might be full of it. They might be just jealous. We don't know. But you got to be mindful of that. Correct. And so all of those conversations are things that I've had with you.
Yeah, and we've had those conversations. And the bottom line with that part of it is that there's no one at ESPN that can say I did something to them.
Okay.
All you can do is go out and perform.
I certainly can't say that. You never done anything to me.
Did I perform for you? Yes, you did. Deliver on First Take?
Yes, you did.
I have the proof and all the ratings and the metrics to show that I delivered for ESPN college football in the games that I was able to call with the wonderful crew of Mark Jones and Quint Kesenick. And also Bob was juicing. Okay. I have the numbers and the proof to show that I delivered for ESPN on the group on Monday Night Countdown.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Now you're venturing into a deeper conversation. This is not about ESPN. This is about the business.
Right.
Remember, it's approximately maybe 3 years ago, you and I had a conversation in the green room at ESPN the South Street Seaport. And I said to you, one of the biggest mistakes we make as talent is classifying ourselves and our performance. We got to know what the bosses think.
Correct.
They don't always go by just ratings.
Right.
They don't always go by just popularity.
Correct.
Sometimes there's other things that come into play, whatever that may be.
Right.
Depends on the network, depends on the personality or whatever. Also, sometimes it depends on the price tag.
Correct.
I might let you go because I want to give this money to somebody. I know of 2 people in this business in the last 6 months that the only reason they are out of a job is because somebody else was hired and it required their money because the price tag that came with them was exponentially higher. And as a result, they said, instead of picking 2 of them, we can only pick 1. So we gonna give this person that person's money. Correct. There's a whole bunch of things. And I said, don't get caught up in this business being all about a meritocracy. It is in a lot of ways. Right. But in some ways, particularly when your cachet grows, and you have a demand, and there's a cachet that you believe comes with your name, and you're under the impression that you deserve X and Y, when in their mind it might be Z. Right. That could be a reason, and you never know what it is. And so I told you that, and you said, yeah, I got it. But then when ultimately the decisions were made, it hit you. And I understand that. I understand that, but it happens.
It happens. And the only thing you can do is continue to move forward. And that's what I feel like I have done. I said my piece. I said, I'm thankful for my time at ESPN. I'm going to miss the people that I worked with. I love the groups that I had a chance to work with. You said it. Maybe everybody didn't feel a certain type of way, but I know it wasn't because of anything that I did to them.
Right. Right.
I would present this question to you, Stephen A.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with you. All right. So there was some audio that came out about someone at ESPN that works at ESPN, a producer that said some negative things about you.
Yep.
I didn't engage with that. Why? Because I don't have a problem with you.
Right.
I'm not some gossip columnist, some gossip reporter. But for that person to say, hey, I don't, or we don't, certain people don't feel a certain type of way about Stephen A. Smith. How does that make you feel when you hear something like that comes out?
Come on, RG, you know me. Made me laugh. I don't give a damn about what that person said. Listen, first of all, I never met him.
Right.
He's never worked with me. I don't know him. And I don't know why he would say the things that he says, but I don't want to sound wrong about this, but he's a production assistant. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people do on an entry-level position in this business. And there's a lot of work. There's a lot of hardships. There's a lot of things that they got to go through in climbing that ladder. Well, no disrespect, but at ESPN, I'm at the top of the heap.
Top dog.
You know, and I've been in this business for 30 years. You think I'm going to worry about some new beginner that, you know, is sitting there chirping about? I could care less. Not even a little bit. And most importantly, as I've told you in the past, people going to hate.
Yeah.
People going to come for you.
No doubt.
And the higher you climb, the more you exposed.
Correct.
And they're going to try to pull you down.
Yep.
And you got to be able to take it.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, taking it doesn't mean you always got to be quiet.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you never have a retort or a response. But it means that ultimately, at the end of the day, no matter what the circumstances are, you got to be prepared to move on.
No doubt.
Because you got bigger fish to fry.
No doubt.
I don't care what most people have to say about me in this business, let alone a production assistant. I'm not concerned about it at all. Not even a little bit.
So here's my, it's not even a rebuttal. Everything that you just said, you don't care about what this person thinks about you. But you are.
I said most.
Most. Yeah. But you are the top dog. You're the $100 million man. You are ESPN.
What they say.
You have.
I ain't gonna talk about my money, but go ahead.
I got you. You have said in this conversation that you respect me. The job that I did for First Take and was additive to the program. So now sitting here, black man to black man.
Yeah.
When I make a philosophical point about sports media focusing on sports, or I make a point about Jackie Robinson, it's okay to attack the point, to attack the opinion. But for me, the issue came in when you took 2 minutes talking about Jackie Robinson and talking about my opinion there and the point there, but you spent 8 minutes dragging my reputation through the mud.
I disagree with that. I emphatically disagree with that. First of all, let me state for the record.
Go ahead.
At First Take, you did a hell of a job. Secondly, I think you're a talent on the airwaves. I don't know why others haven't gobbled you up. Number 3, I didn't want you gone. I said that too.
You did.
That's not your reputation through the mud. What happens if I sat up there and I said, some people don't like you.
Right.
Hell, some people don't like me. That's not your reputation. I didn't say you did something scandalous. I didn't excoriate you. I didn't sit up there and say that you did something to deserve it. I didn't say any of that. What I said was that, like is the case with a lot of people in our industry, you suffered from the same thing. Listen, if ESPN let me go, let's say, for example, hypothetically, I didn't reach an agreement with ESPN.
Right.
And I didn't re-sign with them. You'd have had everybody. Man, I'm glad his ass is gone. They fine without him. He wasn't worth anything anyway. And they'd have been chirping and talking junk about me.
100%.
I mean, big time.
Yep.
All right. They would have gone far beyond, yo, I'm good with you, but other people don't like you. Right? What I did was articulate the point. Yo, bro, you know, if you got an issue, whether it's with me, it's with the show, or it's with ESPN, say so. Be specific. Right. You understand? That's all I meant by the passive aggressiveness. In other words, the lack of specification. That's it. Outside of that, what I'm saying is your problem ain't with me because I know you know your football. Yes, I know you're damn good on camera. Yes, sir. I know you can do this job.
Yes, sir.
And I wish you were still there. If you were still there, let me ask you this question. If you were still at ESPN, you answer it. Would Stephen A. have had you on First Take?
Yes, he would have.
Thank you.
He would have.
Damn right I would have. Where RG3? Let's bring him here. You weren't on because your ass was on the road. You understand what I'm saying? You all over the place. You understand what I'm saying? And you ain't in New York in studio. You can't vibe with us in your damn schedule. They got you all over the damn place. How many times did I call you or reach out to you? Yo, man, where you free?
Right.
You all right? God help if anything came down about Baylor. You know what RG, where you at, man? Where you at, bro? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about the coach now. You know what I'm saying? Coach got a different opportunity. Who I call? Yo, RG, a matter of fact, even when you couldn't be on the air, what did I do? I picked up the phone. Yo, man, here's what I'm thinking about your former coach.
Right.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
What you want? No, I'm saying. I said to you, am I wrong?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? What, you know, this is how I feel. And you'd be like, yo, if I come on the air, here's what I feel. And oh, by the way, Stephen A., I'm going to say that. Cool. No problem. So me articulating that you weren't liked by some, but you were liked by me, is not character assassinating you.
Okay.
Because all of us, none of us are liked by 100% of the people. I assure you that there are people I've never met, that I've never talked to, and you would think they worked with me every day if I was walking out the door at ESPN. They talk about me. They call me everything but a child of God. They dog me. Why? Because it's easy for people to do. I understand that. I accept it, and I don't give a damn.
So you saying that it wasn't character assassination, but then when you say it, and I know this, if I say something negative about somebody because of the platform that I have, it's going to get picked up. It's going to get picked up.
Okay.
It might get distorted. It might get put in a certain type of way. But now look at this from you, the top dog. I'm 35 years old. I have a massive platform, and I'm thankful to God for that. But you have a bigger platform, Stephen A., and that's not pride or ego talking. That's just the truth. You have a bigger platform, and you can help a young brother coming up through this, like you have with a lot of the young brothers that you have helped that might be 10 plus years old.
And we'll continue to do so.
And you'll continue to do. But now the audience are seeing that. The audiences are seeing that. And as the top dog black man in the industry, you're talking about me in a way that can be perceived as character assassination.
I don't think so. I don't think somebody's saying that you weren't liked by a few people is character assassination. Then now it would be character assassination if I went like this. Man, RG ain't shit. I don't like him either. Come on. Yes, now you got me. Now if I said something like that, you got me. You understand? Because you're right. But I didn't do that. A matter of fact, I said the opposite. You understand? Not only did I point out how I feel about you, I also pointed out how people would say the same thing about me. I'm talking about the business. And if anything, I'm getting on you about, I'm like, what you have to understand, I'm only going to give you my interpretation. When you sit here and you bring up the word character assassination, you know what I'm thinking about? RG3, you here, bro. You still got a ways to go in terms of learning the nuances of the business, because it isn't character assassination. It comes with the territory in this field. This is what people do. And it's like you can't embrace it like that, because then you give more life to it. There is nothing wrong in our business. We're commentators. We're pundits. RG, I would have a problem with you if you were liked by everybody. I'd be like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
How the hell that happen? You ain't got any, you must not have anything to say if everybody like you. I mean, that doesn't make it. I mean, in our line of work, do you understand? I wake up every day, RG. I want to confess to you about something. I had to have this conversation. I'm being very personal right now.
Talk to me.
So this is about 2 years ago or so, I'm with my girl, and she's just looking at me, and she was like, because I was just mad at her because she was getting on my nerves this particular day, you know? And I just looked at her and I said to her, excuse my language, I don't have time for this shit. I don't have time. And she was like, what? I said, baby, do you not understand that every single day I wake up, I'm making enemies? Because I have to take a side. And in this day and age that we're living in, whoever side you're not on doesn't like you.
Right.
They consider you an enemy.
Correct.
It doesn't matter how many friends I make and how many people support me. I'm also every single day, 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week minimum, 15 segments a day, 75 segments a week. I am taking a position against something or someone.
Correct.
And I said, it's every day. That's my life because of how the business has devolved and what we have to embrace conceptually.
Correct.
As the impact that we're having on the psyche and the minds and the hearts of people that we're talking about, along with their friends, their hanger-ons, and everything else in between.
Right.
But it's what I signed up for. Because as the industry has evolved and we see an opportunity to make money being our true, authentic selves in terms of what we feel, what we're watching, and how we express, we can't bitch about what comes with it. Because if we ain't doing it, somebody else is.
Right.
So when you say character, 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 I'm saying, RG, listen to what I just said. Yo, bro, when you are doing you, you can be as honest, you can be as decent, you can be as respectful, etc. You can even be clear as opposed to being vague about who you're talking about.
Right.
It does not matter. Somebody's not going to like it.
That's true.
That's what comes with it. And there's nothing you can do about it other than lead a business.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. So you just said something about picking a side, right? And in your I feel like tear down to me, you said I was tap dancing. Now, Stephen A., you and I both know, as black men, when somebody says that, they're saying something outside of just saying they were tap dancing, right? You're almost making.
I meant passive aggressive, so wrong words. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's on me. That's on me.
Because tap dancing is like performative, like you're trying to please somebody.
That's not what I meant.
Okay.
That's not what I meant. I meant passive aggressive, meaning that you're not being direct about who the hell you're talking about. Yeah. And if you remember, RG, you remember. Now let's bring it home.
Okay.
So you played for the then Washington Redskins.
Correct.
What was one of the biggest criticisms you received? Do you remember?
I don't. Tell me what it was.
That you were too close to the former owner. I'm not going to mention his name because I know you ain't got nothing to do with the nonsense he found himself in. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not going to do that to you. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, because the relationship was perceived as enabling you to bypass coaches, players, etc., because you were so electric and you were the face of the franchise. And I'm one of those people who firmly believes that the way we talk about Lamar Jackson, we would have been talking about you that way had a Lodi Nada not damn near had your leg amputated, for crying out loud. Okay? I'm one of those who has firmly believed that, which was a big thing because Andrew Luck was a stud, and for you to be drafted number 2 and to still be seen in that light, that just shows how electrifying you was as a player. So we got to give you props for that.
And the Snyder narrative was false, but I just
that's right. Yeah, understood. I never knew that. But you remember when that's how your father and I got to know each other. Correct. Because your father confronted me in the tunnel of FedEx Field one day. And I said to him, I didn't tell you I believe that. What I said to you is that that's what they saying.
Okay.
And you have to deal, and RG3 has to deal with the narrative that's being put out there about you. And I also remember saying something along the lines of, your pops might not remember this, but I also remember saying something along the lines of, when you're quiet, what happens is you leave the narrative to others.
Correct.
Here's the challenge. Once you walk into this business, I personally believe that's one of the things that plagued Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb is a good friend of mine. I love my brother Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
he will tell you periodically over the years, I've always told him, if you talk this much when you were playing, you'd be irresistible in television. The hard transition is when you quiet and then all of a sudden you want to talk now because the perception is you're doing it to get paid. I'm not talking about Donovan McNabb right now. I'm talking about in general. The perception is you're doing it to get paid as opposed to doing it because you got a lot of stuff to say.
Right.
And what I'm saying to you in a lesser degree, because you're a bit more talkative than he was, but both of y'all are incredibly articulate, and I think y'all both would do phenomenal work in this business. I think the thing that y'all miss is that when you speak, because you're not accustomed to just talking, what happens is you find yourself a bit passive aggressive. You find yourself holding back. You find yourself leaving stuff out and allowing wiggle room for interpretation because talking is something that you know how to do, just something you weren't prone to do earlier on. Me, I've been talking all my life.
Right.
My mother said I came out of the womb running my mouth. So it ain't nothing to me to do it. But if you're not accustomed to doing it, then you find yourself leaving stuff out and open to interpretation. And that could be how you got yourself in trouble. And I'm saying to you personally, you're a person that would let a lot of things slide. You can't address what everybody feels. You ain't got time for all of that. You got to live your life. You got bigger fish to fry. You got a family. You got a career. I ain't got time for all of that, right? Mm-hmm. And that was your MO. So now you come into this business and you might think that what you said was enough. Mm-hmm. When in fact, it wasn't nearly enough because it was devoid of specifics, leaving room for interpretation for somebody else to come at you and say, yo, is that what the hell you meant?
I understand that. I get that point. I would get it if I didn't send out 13 tweets about the thing. Because what I do know now is that in the environment that we are living in the highly politicized environment that we live in today, people feed on what they want to hear. All right. If I'm on the far right or the far left and this person isn't saying exactly how I feel and I can't be self-validated by what they said, I'm going to attack it. That's the world that we live in today. But I was clear and articulated what I said. They just didn't want to hear it because it didn't support their point. So I want to say this because you said be direct.
Sure.
And you were upset about me saying what I said about sports shows on TV should be about sports, not politics. So
because it was an hour after First Take did that exact thing.
So I'm going to be very direct with you.
Okay.
That tweet was not about ESPN. Wasn't about Mina Kimes. Stephen A., you were the spark plug for that tweet. You were right in assuming that tweet was about you. But it wasn't about what you said about Jackie Robinson. I listened.
But I wasn't saying it was about Jackie Robinson.
I didn't say you did. Hold on.
Okay.
I heard what you said about Jackie Robinson. You eloquently described why Jackie Robinson was so significant. I think all of us would agree that Jackie Robinson is an American hero. I think all of us would agree that Jackie Robinson is the epitome of how sports and politics intermingle. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
My issue, Stephen A., came, the spark plug for it was after 2 minutes of that, you went on a 5-minute monologue about challenging the president. I don't care who's in office. It doesn't matter who's in office. It became a political forum. And that was the issue for me. And what I want to use this example to tell you why it became an issue for me. All right.
Feel free. Sure.
13 years ago, Stephen A., on First Take, there was a conversation that happened on the show involving Rob Parker.
Rob Parker.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You know exactly what conversation I'm talking about.
I know exactly what it was.
Rob Parker talked about, was I a brother? Was I a real brother? Was I really down for the cause? And you know what his point was about why he asked that question? It had nothing to do with sports. It had nothing to do with my performance on the field. It was because my fiance was white. It was because he thought I was a Republican. He made First Take in that moment a political forum for personal attacks and political conversations. Stephen A., that single conversation has followed me for 13 years of my professional career as an athlete and also in the media. When people in the Black community don't agree with me, what do? They start posting Rob Parker memes. You can't find a single instance of someone questioning my Blackness before that conversation happened on First Take. Stephen A., that's why I feel sports shows on television should be about sports and not made political. Sports and politics always intertwine. What you said about Jackie Robinson wasn't making the show political. That's what you're supposed to talk about. But then removing it and turning it into a presidential campaign, or I want to debate these guys on this or that, to me was emblematic or representative of what I went through with Rob Parker. That stuff sticks. It's why, in my opinion, LeBron James is mad at you for questioning him as a father. When you said, as a father, I'm pleading with you, stop this. He wasn't mad about the Bronny criticism, in my opinion. I can't speak for LeBron, but I don't think he was mad about the Bronny criticism. Bronny's
he was, but go ahead.
Yeah, he might have been. He's dad, right? He's in the NBA. You have every right to go not after, but critique his basketball bona fides. But he might be upset because of the conversation about him being a father. Rob Parker and what he said on that show is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. You have such a big platform, my brother. You do. What you say sticks. So when I hear those types of things, and then I see the 8 minutes of just going at me for whatever reasons, it feels like, that's not what this is supposed to be about. Just what are your thoughts on that?
May I respond?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I appreciate you being open and candid as you have been, but especially with that last comment. Rob Parker and I go back over 30 years. I love him like a brother. You left a few things out.
Talk to me.
So let me help you out here.
Talk to me.
You picked up on what Rob Parker said. And the other people who were in Bristol, Connecticut at the desk with him when he said it. You left out a person by the name of Stephen A. Smith, who was on the screen via remote, who shut the conversation down. You left that out. That was me.
You did shut it down.
That was me who said, we are not going to sit here and talk about this man's private relationship with who he got the right to be with, whoever the hell he wants. Shut it down now. I wasn't the executive producer of First Take then.
I know.
Skip was the guy, okay? And I shut it down instantly. That's number one. Number two, having said all of that, that was not a political conversation. That was Rob Parker's feeling about you as a black man, as you said, having a white fiance, being inappropriate in his comments, something he lost his job over. Contract wasn't renewed.
Correct.
And career was in flux, and virtually no one supported him because everyone was siding with you. You left that out. Number three, having said all of that, RG, at some point in time, you know, you are a grown-ass man. You're strong-willed, and the whole bit. You got to toughen up, bro. You got to get some alligator skin. The fact of the matter is that if they didn't find that excuse in the world of social media as it has advanced over the years, you know good and damn well if it wasn't that, it's going to be something else. You know good and damn well you didn't need Rob Parker to say that in order for people to come at you the second they saw your then fiance. They'd have said something. You know they would have. You know how people can be because they just got something to say. And anything to rattle your cage and to mess with you, they're going to do that, right?
Correct.
But here's the part about the whole thing when you say a platform and First Take. First of all, there were comments, not about you, but comments that touched on rails of social commentary, politics and stuff long before Rob Parker made that comment on First Take and other shows. That was not new. Secondly, it's important to point this out. When you say something doesn't have something to do with politics, well, let's get to my Jackie Robinson diatribe.
Talk about it.
Jackie Robinson was a subject because the Department of Defense for the United States of America had scrubbed his resume.
I agree.
And credited DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, as the rationale behind his bio being scrubbed.
I heard all
That's not Stephen A. or First Take making it political.
No.
They did that. They did that.
That's an intertwining of sports and politics. Yes.
Yeah, I'm saying, but they did it, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
So us commenting about a sports figure being politicized by somebody else is not us embracing politics. It's us pointing out that politics had invaded sports.
And I agree with
So
that.
now so that's what happened. Then when we bring up LeBron, you want to go to LeBron? Let's go to LeBron. Okay? I said it. It's weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse my language. I meant that shit. I still ain't stuttering. No doubt. Because I'm not talking about him as a father at home. I'm not talking about him as a father with his personal relationship or whatever. I'm talking about literally your RG3. Listen to this. Because you are a former professional athlete and damn it, a Heisman Trophy winner. Mm-hmm. This is one of the greatest players to have ever played in the history of the sport, which is LeBron James, top two all time. His son, I think his son will be an NBA player.
Yeah.
But how he is now is because of LeBron James. It's LeBron James, quote, "If you want me, draft my son. At this point, it ain't about the money. I just want to play with my son."
Right.
It was LeBron James who said, before his son ever entered the NBA, ever bounced the ball, ever shot the ball, ever defended an NBA player, it was LeBron who said, my son is better than some of the NBA players right now.
Yeah.
So if RG3 is a superstar in the National Football League and your son is a high school or a college player, and you go in front of the microphones, you want me, draft my son.
Right.
Oh, by the way, my son is better than some of these NFL players right now.
Right.
I ask you rhetorically, what kind of microscope is that bringing down upon your child when he gets to the pro level? Is a reporter wrong for bringing up, you're his dad, you doing this? This ain't him talking. This is not him. This is not another NBA player. This is not a coach. This is not anybody. This is one of the greatest players who have ever lived, who is a basketball savant, opening his mouth about his son and shining a spotlight on him. And oh, by the way, putting the media in a compromising position, because now we got one or two choices. Do we cover him?
No.
And cover him fairly?
Right.
Or do we say, that's LeBron James' son?
Right.
Whatever decision we make is fine if we do it of our own recognizance. This man put us in a position where when we didn't cover Bronny, we giving him a pass because of his dad. Why would you do that? You can't be quiet. He's an All-American, averaging 14 points a game. He's a McDonald's All-American. He goes to USC, has the heart ailment. He goes down and then comes back. God bless him. Thank God he's okay. And he goes and he doesn't have the greatest college career. No big deal. He wasn't healthy. But instead of staying in college, he wants to come pro. And you got Rich Paul, a super agent with Clutch Sports. And what does he do? He greases the skids. He makes sure nobody drafts him so he can fall to the Lakers. And the Lakers embrace him. We sit up there, we say to congrats, no problem. He comes into the NBA. It's open tonight. Now you got a whole bunch of people that know he ain't ready now. And we good because that's LeBron James. And we all here because King James is no joke what he's done for the sport.
It's about the moment.
I'm right there at the Crypto.com arena. Baseline, RG, I'm right there. Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. in the audience. Now, you know a little baseball. You know how bad those brothers were. Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. but you got your son there with you, with them in attendance, knowing that people could automatically draw comparisons. Do we do that? No. But then when the season progresses and you saw the struggles and the fact that he wasn't ready, I wasn't saying he's never going to be ready. I'm simply saying at this moment, he's not ready. Why are you doing this when you are the one that's clearly pulling the strings? And because of that, everybody wants to say as a father, because what he did was as a father on a public platform. Mm-hmm. If you sit up there, if your dad comes up to you and slaps the living hell out of you on the football field,
right?
What we gonna do? Now, if he slapped you at home, we don't know. And even if we do find out, so what? That's home.
Right.
But if you do it on a football field, we were all there.
Yeah.
And these cats are asking us to watch it and ignore it. I was not wrong then. I am not wrong now. And it is what it is. Whatever consequences come with it, fine. I'm ready for it.
And you're entitled to your opinion. And I wanted to allow you the space to get that all off your chest.
Sure.
Because you said a lot, right? But I want to go back to a statement and then work back this other way towards LeBron. You said I need to get alligator skin. I mean, man, Stephen A., with what I've been through in sports and in sports media, I got more than alligator skin, okay? I am tough when it comes to that, and I've never allowed those things that have been said about me to get to me.
I talked to alligator skin about what you said about Rob Parker and what you brought about Rob Parker. That's all I was talking about. That's all I was talking about.
And for what I've been through, I definitely have alligator skin. I've been dealing with that for 13 years, and it doesn't bother me to the point where I feel like I'm going to crash out about it. It's just a matter of that was an example to show how things can stick with an athlete. You said, hey, it would have came up some other way, some way, somehow. It might have, but it wouldn't have been broadcasted on nationally televised TV on the biggest network in the world. That is the issue. That's from my perspective. So now, when you go into LeBron, you just articulated exactly your point. And I think there's a lot of people out there that agree with you, Stephen A., on what you just laid out about LeBron James. But I also think there's people who hijack that narrative because of the mention of as a father. Yeah. As a father, you got to do this better. Now it feels like, oh, you're questioning this man as a father, and that gets perpetuated to the ends of the earth. And that's probably why I feel like LeBron was upset about that. There's an article, and we will throw the article on the screen. In 2013, I was asked about Rob Parker. Was I happy that he got fired or happy that he was out of a job? You know what my response was, Stephen A.? No. Why? Because I'm not trying to keep another brother down. What he said was wrong. What he said has stuck with me and been attached to my name for 13 years. But I didn't want to see him get fired. I just want to see those types of conversations not happening on nationally televised TV. Stephen, you got a huge platform on YouTube. How many subscribers do you have?
Over 1.15 million over the first 23 months or so.
There you go. Huge platform. You can talk about whatever the heck you want to on your platform. Is First Take your show?
Yeah.
You can talk about whatever you want on First Take. Would you agree?
Pretty much.
And I am of the opinion that I can have an opinion about that. My only issue is that when we come to sports, right? You did a 2-hour show. First Take's 2 hours, correct? You did a 2-hour show. You spent 7 minutes on the Jackie Robinson thing. That doesn't mean that the entire show is about politics. It's to say that when a fan comes to sports is a place where we can all unite around common goods. Sports has also shown us the errors and the issues in our country repeatedly throughout history. That's why talking about Jackie Robinson and Jesse Owens and Jack Johnson and Colin Kaepernick, right? And what the NBA did when during the George Floyd things during COVID, those are all sports topics, sports and politics. But the reason I had an issue, or it was a spark plug for me, was I know you're not trying to run for president, but trying to run for president. You know what I'm saying? And it felt like you were talking and giving a political speech, tearing down the right, tearing down the left. and talking about, I want to debate these guys. That was where I felt like, okay, it is no longer sports and politics. It has become a political forum. And I know that's not what fans are tuning in to First Take for. They didn't tune in to First Take to hear Rob Parker talk about that. You said you shut it down, and you did. You did shut it down. And I appreciate you for that. But the damage was already done. I can take responsibility for the actions that I take and the things that I say, but a lot of athletes get upset because things get attached to their name that should not be attached to their name, and they have to deal with it for the rest of their sports lives. That is
but they also spend a lot of time lying and letting the public see what they want to see.
Give me an example.
I'm just saying. No. I'm not gonna go there. But they lie about a lot of stuff. I mean, it could be trades, it could be relationships with teammates, coaches, ownerships, etc. Like they got a problem with a lot of narratives. A lot of times you sticking to nothing but sports, and they still got an issue with you.
But do you think that the media lies too?
I think some members do, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I know I don't. I know I don't. I'm not lying. It's not.
I don't lie about anything I talk about.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it to me. My credibility matters to me. That's why I've lasted this long, because I can stand on my. And you know what? It's hard to live a lie, bro, and sustain and be consistent. You understand what I'm saying? If you faking it until you make it, that ain't gonna last. The sustainable power comes from the fact that you are your true self. Your true self. And as a result of it, you end up benefiting from it, hopefully, more times than not. But to get back to your point and your statements, let's be very, very clear about something.
Okay.
We're in a personality-driven business.
True.
You talked about what people come to First Take to hear and to see.
Correct.
Respectfully, I think I'm more qualified to speak about what people come to First Take to watch and see than you are.
Okay.
It's my show. You understand? I would know. And the reality is that for the most part, they come to see me. Talk about whatever I want to talk about.
But that's true, Steve. But that is true, Stephen. That's a true statement. They come to see you.
That's a true statement. That's a true statement. That's right.
Yes.
So now let's take it to another level. Why do I not hesitate? I don't talk about, you haven't seen me talk about politics on that level at ESPN. I almost have never done that. But what I'm saying is, I didn't have any hesitancy in doing so because of what they did to instigate the conversation with the Defense Department scrubbing Jackie Robinson's record like that. I had a problem with that, okay? Yeah. That's number one. Number two, the segment's about 8 minutes long, okay? So I was using that segment. That's the subject matter for the segment. Number three, here's what I would beg your indulgence about.
Okay.
When we try to separate the two.
Yep.
Take RG3. When you got paid by the Washington Redskins at the time,
right?
How much of your money did you lose in taxes?
More than I ever imagined.
How about Social Security?
More than I ever imagined.
Okay, right. The car that you drove, did you have to pay a sales tax on that?
100%.
The crib that you had, didn't you have a mortgage on that? An interest rate?
Yep.
You understand? What I'm trying to say to you is that who makes those decisions?
Our politicians.
There you go.
Yeah,
and so my point to you is that this notion that you get to separate it, that's what they want. Because they want to use sports to distract and evade from the trifling ass stuff they do. Talk about the game. For example, the NFL was losing their minds. Right. What happened? Let's go to Colin Kaepernick for a second. Okay. Really want to know what happened with Colin Kaepernick?
Talk to me.
I've said this on many occasions. All right? So Colin Kaepernick takes the knee, and as a result, the issue is pretty much hijacked by the then president, Donald Trump.
Right.
And it's politicized. If you recall, there was a dude by the name of Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch.
Yep.
He didn't stand for the national anthem. As a matter of fact, he used to sit down on water coolers eating bananas.
Yep.
Am I lying? Am I lying? All right. But Colin Kaepernick takes the knee. It's no problem. Why was it not a problem? Because it served their purpose at the time, politics. Here's what happened. And I just finished telling this story. I've told it many, many times. I knew Donald Trump. Donald Trump called me in 2014. Donald Trump wanted to buy the Buffalo Bills. The price tag was $1.4 billion.
Yeah.
I would later learn that the NFL was charging, the price tag was $1.4 billion. Donald Trump only had $1.1 billion.
Okay.
Donald Trump picks up the phone. Secretary tells me Donald Trump wants to speak to me. Donald Trump wants to get me on the line because he wants to let me know that he wants to buy the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not cussing, I'm quoting.
Right.
His exact words. Talking about the NFL owners. If them motherfuckers get in my way, I'm going to get them all back. I'm going to run for president. Those are his exact words. They got in his way. A year later, he strolls down those escalators.
Yeah.
Announces he's running for the presidency. Ultimately wins the Republican nomination and the presidency of the United States.
Right.
The relevancy of it all is that when he hijacked the narrative, it inconvenienced the NFL. Because remember, sports gaming was coming into play. And it was becoming more conspicuous now that the Supreme Court in 2018, I believe, it ultimately passed legislation that allowed the states to get involved. And the NFL teams were suddenly getting involved after swearing for years that they would never get involved in sports gaming. Now they had gotten involved.
Right.
Do you know that if you get 0.5% of all sports gaming revenue, that equates to billions? That's what the NFL owners were looking at. How do we know this? Shortly thereafter, NFL owners each got a check. If I remember correctly, I think it was like for $246 million apiece. RG, they were still complaining that it wasn't $250. They thought they said Colin Kaepernick cost us that extra 3.5. They got $246.5 and was complaining about the 3.5 he didn't give them. They thought he got in the way of,
right?
Which is what made me say he ain't getting back in the NFL. They gonna get him. They ain't having it.
Right.
What I'm saying to you is, look at what I just broke down.
Yeah.
That's politics.
It is politics.
Intertwining with sports.
100%.
But shit is interesting, ain't it?
No,
it's very compelling. It's very compelling, and it's relevant.
Right.
And that is television. That's
with
television.
You talk about the things that are relevant. You talk about the things that sports and politics intertwine on. But would you agree? Would you agree with this?
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Some people say everything is political. I disagree. Everything is not political. But if you look for the politics in everything, you'll find it. Don't you think there's a difference? Don't you think there's a difference between Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, which was clearly political? Mm-hmm. That was a clearly political act. And LeBron James shooting a three. And now we're on ESPN and we're on, Fox Sports talking about how LeBron making that three-pointer affects the organic growth of the farmers out in the Midwest. Like there's a difference there.
Of course.
Right. Now I can make a correlation to say
there's a total difference. But to use your first example, what was your first example again? Not LeBron James shooting the three, but what else you mentioned?
Yeah, everything isn't political, but if you look for the politics in everything, you will find it.
That's true. But the flip side to it is that things that are legitimately political, the people involved don't want you to politicize it because they got their own agendas.
That's true.
And you have an obligation to find it because it influences sports.
And that's called journalism. And you know that. You're a journalist.
But in the process of doing so, as you're talking, sometimes you're not getting into the weeds journalistically. You're giving an overview because you're saying this is what it is. Right. Just like you could know the nuances of everything that happens inside of an organization, like the commanders or whatever. But you're just saying, this is what happening. You ain't giving every step of the way, but it's clear that you're connected and you know.
Correct. And Stephen A., I know politics. Okay. You said the tap dancing term, which you said more about being passive aggressive.
That's what I meant. Which
I took as pick a side, right? And you kind of articulated that.
Yes, correct.
Pick a side. Pick a side. I am picking a side. I picked the side of unity. It's just not the side of the right or the side of the left, and it might not be what maybe you want me to pick. But I choose to create a space where we can build community and we can build unity and try to find the connective tissue between the two sides so that we
But I don't have an issue with that. I think that's very admirable on your part, and I have no issue with that. But my point is that I was responding to a tweet that you sent out an hour after I was on First Take doing the exact same thing. And you acknowledged that what sparked your tweet was the show. So I was saying, if that's what it is, say so. Yo, Stephen A, first take, say so. What we guessing for? That's all I was saying.
Yes, and what I will say to you is every other instance in which I have talked about you, I have added you. When I asked the people, hey, what do you think about Stephen A talking about LeBron as a father? I added you on that. When you and Jay Will got in the fight a couple of years ago on First Take, I added you on that.
Yeah, with Kyrie and all that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. When you had the conversation about Tua Tagovailoa, and it was like Justin Herbert this or whatever, I literally responded back to the First Take tweet. I have never thrown subliminal shots at you. That tweet
but I've never.
Go ahead.
But I never accused you of doing it before.
It
never happened. I've never done it until last week.
That's my point. That's why we're here. Right. Because you made the statements you made, and it was like, how did we get from Jackie Robinson and talking about the impact or the nuanced conversation there to dang, we taking personal shots at RG. I just wanted to clear all of that up because I've seen people talk about pitting two black men against each other. Me and you have talked offline how your story and my story, I need a brother like you to help me navigate
and I'm here
all of this. And we talked about that. So I felt like it was the right opportunity and moment because me and you have always rocked.
Always.
So now it's like, damn, that felt personal. Let's have a conversation about it. And to your credit, you had the conversation. I just know that there's a lot of people that want me to pick a side, and I don't feel like me telling people where I lie on every single issue politically is what I want to do. I'm not judging you for doing it. I was just saying, I know there's a lot of sports fans that when they do turn on First Take, they don't mind hearing you talk about Jackie Robinson and the DEI and them removing him from. That's all fair game.
Well, I wasn't thinking about all of that. I was thinking about me and I was thinking about my show. And I was saying, if you got feelings, then I should know about that. I shouldn't be wondering, guessing, or having people allude to this is who he's talking about, this is what he's saying, or connecting the dots and seeing that it's clear that you was talking about the show or anything like that. But we've always rocked. We've always been cool. And I think that a conversation like this, me personally speaking, whether it's LeBron, it's Draymond, it's Kyrie, it's you, I don't give a damn who it is. I'm always open. And that's why I was, because listen, we live in a world, clicks and and numbers and subscribers and all of this other stuff. Man, why you going on RG's show? Why don't he come on your show? And I said, yo, first of all, he was willing to fly to my show. 100%. I wasn't there. Secondly, what's wrong with going on this show? I talked about him. Go on his platform. Hell, I hope it does help. I hope his numbers do jump. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I said, and not only that, it's a man-to-man conversation because we can have a discussion. And whether we agree or disagree, my point is we've always been cool. Ain't no reason for us not to be cool. My point with you is no passive aggressiveness. You got something to say to me, RG, say it. It's good because it's you. But don't have me guessing. And when it comes to other players that got a problem, I give you credit where I won't give them credit. How many times these cats talk smack? And I tell them, you don't have to... Tell me where and when to show up. I'll be there. I'll come on your platform. And they still don't invite me. See, they want to chirp, but they don't want to have a man-to-man conversation like we just had. So I appreciate it. I got what you're saying, and that's why I came. That's why I'm here.
And I appreciate that. The one other thing I want to clear up, because we talked about this offline, was the Pat McAfee stuff with College Game Day.
Yeah,
you said that, in your video, you said I was upset about McAfee being on game day, but I've never voiced that.
I don't recall saying that. I recall bringing up Pat McAfee and saying that I have always felt you should be on College Game Day because no matter what you were as an NFL player, damn it, RG3 was on the collegiate level. That Heisman Trophy brother going, and I certainly didn't say it was at the expense of Pat McAfee because I think he does a sensational job on College Football Game Day, and he's absolutely hilarious with the damn field goal kicking contest. That shit is funny as hell. Okay, but I always said that I wish that you were on there too because RG3 walks on a college campus talking college football. I think that's something that would resonate. I've always said that. I told you that privately. I've said that publicly. But I don't get to make those decisions. But I didn't sit there and say that you were upset about him being on the show instead of you. I was saying you should be on the show because you are RG3, you are a Heisman Trophy winner, and that's the kind of cachet you bring to the table. That's what I said.
I appreciate you, clarifying that and speaking to that, because in every conversation that we've had, you've always stated that.
I've always stated that.
You've always felt like
when you came to me about Monday Night Countdown, I said, what the hell are you doing that for? How come you're not on Saturday mornings on college football game day? That was exactly what I said to you. Remember that?
I remember.
When you called me and said, yo, man, I'm on Monday Night Football. I said, for what?
Right.
I said, RG3 should be on college football. That's what I said.
Right. That's exactly what you said. So just in closing, I appreciate you having the conversation.
Yep.
I just wanted to say, are we good?
We're good. We're good.
We're good.
There's a conversation. We've always been good. I had a problem. My problem, again, be direct. You got something to tell me, tell me. And this is the thing about me, too. And I want to say this to all professional athletes and everybody in pro and collegiate sports, whatever it is. I've been around for 30 years. If you know me, I don't like hearing stuff from other people. If somebody got an issue with me, and now, don't get me wrong, everybody can't call me. Hell, I can't pick up the phone every time I got something to say before I say it to contact everybody. I'll never have a tough time to do my damn job. I really do understand that. But I'm just talking about in general. People who know me, if you got an issue with me, all I ask is that you make sure I find out from you.
Right.
You understand? I don't care what everybody else knows once I know from you.
Right.
My issue is that I can't stand all of us. Who likes a two-faced person? I'm certainly not accusing you of that, bro. But who likes a two-faced person? No. Who wants a person that's smiling in their face and then behind their back no, stay away from me. You know what I'm saying? Kiss my ass. Don't come in my face acting like we cool when we not. Right. But if we cool, then I shouldn't have to find out from other people if there's an issue with me. Not to say that that was an issue, because you're just talking about the show and the segment and all of that stuff. Yeah. But I just say that for future reference with anybody. Those are the people that I have a problem with. People who know me, but then I find out stuff from other people instead of them. I don't like that. That always rubs me the wrong way.
And I want to say, not just to you, because in this particular instance, that was the spark plug for that tweet. But Stephen, you're not the only guy that ever does sports media. You just the biggest voice. So I also want to encourage me and you to understand, like when you go on TV, Stephen A., and you have a differing opinion than I do, I don't take that as a personal shot. Oh, he's talking.
Neither do I.
Right. So when people start trying to connect dots that aren't there, understand, I feel like they're just trying to pit us against each other. They're trying to pit me against this person or pit me against that person. And that's not how I roll. If I have a problem, I will pick up the phone and talk to you about it, or I will directly respond to what was said. So there is no confusion.
And the operative word is problem, just for our audience. The operative word is problem. You disagreeing with a point of view is not a problem.
Exactly.
You having a different opinion is not a problem. You understand what I'm saying? We all know what real problems individuals have with one another on a personal level. If that ain't what we talking about here, there ain't no damn problem. So everybody just need to calm down.
And I know there's a lot of subtweeting going on, right? And sometimes people feel, you mentioned that the other guys that have left and been upset. There's been a lot of people who've left ESPN and not said anything at all. Steve.
Well, my issue is the people that complain and they got a problem with management, but they blame the talent, not understanding or not acknowledging, rather. We are all under management. I have bosses to answer to at ESPN. I'm not the boss. I'm an executive producer of one show. I'm not the boss. And so when I see people, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there's many, many people throughout the years that have departed from ESPN, and they talking smack, and they use the talent to use it as an opportunity to attack the network. I think that's jacked up. It's like that ain't right. We don't have anything to do with that. We are under the same auspices you were under. So why would you ignore that and point to the talent, knowing that the talent is under the same bosses you were under? But folks conveniently forget that. That is shady.
I agree with that. And I'm just here to say that ain't what I'm doing. So if anybody at ESPN, management-wise, bosses-wise, or talent-wise, think that I am taking subliminal shots at you or subtweets, that's not what I'm doing. I'm literally just placing my opinion on hot button issues. Stephen A., isn't that what the business is for?
That is what the business is for.
Talk about the things that the people are talking about.
That's what the business is for.
That's where I'm coming from. That's why I haven't said anything negative about ESPN publicly or privately. That's why I haven't said anything negative about you or any other talent at ESPN publicly or privately, because we're all trying to do the best job we can. I'm just looking at it from the outside now, and I can see all these things. I'm not doing what the people you're talking about are doing. Like we said, we're not last nugget, names, but that's not what I'm doing.
Got it. Last nugget of information, though. When you're dealing with bosses, which all of us have, we do know that we're subject to the mercy of their interpretations at times.
That is true.
And so when you're communicating to the masses, you got to be clear. And you got to be careful, especially when it's something that alludes to the powers that be. See, a whole bunch of people want to act like you got your podcast, you got your show, this, that, whatever. I got this, I got that. Yo, we might run this platform, but we answer to somebody eventually.
That's true.
Yeah, I run my own YouTube show. I own and operate it 100%. But what about those advertisers and sponsors? What about what they want? You think I don't have to appease them?
That's true.
You think that I work at ESPN when I'm on First Take, I don't have to appease bosses? You think that YouTube don't have bosses? Don't you notice that certain things get frozen? Certain things get flagged and you can't put it over the airways? Oh, is that you or is that them? There is always someone to answer to. And so when you're talking and you're articulating your points of view, it's incredibly important that, especially when it comes to a power structure, that you're very, very clear when you're not talking about them. Because several of them will believe you are, and you want to make sure that they know better.
I understand that, and obviously in my situation, and maybe the situation of other people who have been laid off from a job before, like, you can understand if you get laid off and then you say this or that, they might interpret that, oh, he talking about us.
Correct.
And I'm saying not doing that. All the bosses at ESPN,
we weren't talking. We weren't talking about ESPN. I was talking about the business. I remember I worked at Fox.
In general.
I worked at CNN. I worked at the Philadelphia Inquirer. Worked at the New York Daily News. I've been across this business landscape. I'm talking about business. It don't matter who you're working for. That's a rule of thumb. And we all got to make sure we follow it, unless we want to get burned.
So the question I have for you is, how do you think I can do a better job of that, so that they don't think I'm talking about them? Because sometimes
I think that you want to.
I hit dog will holler, and you know that. If you feel guilty in your mind about something, they'll think it's talking about them.
I think you're a highly intelligent brother who's very articulate, who knows how to make sure that your thoughts are very clear. Do that. I ain't telling you nothing you can't do. I'm telling you to prioritize doing it. Or be willing to live with the fallout that comes from it, from not being clear. Sometimes people are vague on purpose.
That's true.
All right.
I know people, but I got you.
And what I'm saying is, if you're vague on purpose, no. All of us have been that way. Like for me, you know, when I say separate, if I say somebody, I call them a fat bastard, right? Everybody might know who I'm talking about, but I ain't using the name. You see what I'm saying? I understand the fallout that comes from saying that, because I know who people are going to assume. I can eat it. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, that's all I'm trying to say. Sometimes we're all vague on purpose.
But we know why they assume that to be that person, because you've already addressed that person.
There we go. Exactly. But I'm just saying, people are vague on purpose intentionally sometimes. Be mindful of the consequences of being vague and be ready to accept it, or put forth your due diligence. You know how many times I've had to come on my show and reiterate a subject that I thought had passed by because I didn't come across clear enough? We're all guilty of it. I'm just saying, but I didn't do it on purpose. I thought I was clear, but evidently I wasn't clear enough. So let me make sure I'm clear. And then you can let it go, because you know people going to look for stuff anyway. And you got to eat it. But you got to do what you can to be clear.
And I think that's the alligator skin from this whole Jackie Robinson situation. Is I came out, I said what I said. I wrote the first tweet, wrote the second tweet, worked 12 tweets after it, and then clarified. And those same people still decided to take it wherever.
There you go. And that's when you say,
there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do. It's nothing you can do.
I just want to say thank you for coming on the platform.
Yep.
I know we talked offline about
Yes, we did.
things that we can do together and how you can help me throughout this industry. And I just want to tell everybody at home, like at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith is going to continue to create the content that he wants to create. He's going to talk about the topics that he wants to talk about. And I'm going to do the same on my platform. I'm here to build a community of unity. And I know that's hard in today's age with how highly politicized it is and how we, you know, both sides feel like everybody's attacking them.
Right.
I just want to be a place where we can have in-depth conversations, both sides, no holds barred, no subtweets, right? No speculation, just facts. And
anybody that speculates about this conversation is because they want to. Yes. The one thing they cannot say is that neither of us have been clear about where we stand.
No doubt about it.
So after that, we could just leave it alone. And I wish you nothing but the best. Keep climbing. Keep doing what you're doing. You got a long life, ahead of you, a long career ahead of you. And there's a plethora of opportunities that's going to come your way. You've earned it. You're going to continue to earn it. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I'm going to always be here to help you. If I disagree with you like I did the other day, I'm going to say so. Just like you called me the other day, told me what you disagree with. And we had this conversation, and it's all good. It's all good. I wish you nothing but the best. No doubt.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right?
Thank you for coming on the show, and we'll keep it cracking. Appreciate you, brother.
Peace and love, dog.
Much love. God bless.
Yep.
Hey, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation between myself and Stephen A. Smith. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. If you noticed, my wife, Greta Griffin, was not a part of this conversation, and it was really to protect her. My family has been getting death threats, and people have been making certain comments about my family that I wanted to protect them from this conversation. So I just want to say to everybody out there making those threats, it ain't right. It's disgusting. It's distasteful. But guess what? We're going to keep chugging along, and we appreciate the people who are supporting us through this journey. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let's keep going. Outta Pocket. Peace.